All right. We are here tonight for the Budget Review Committee. It is 5:45. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with roll call. All right. Chris Pendragon, President.
Here.
Here. Rick Caseman.
Here.
Stosic.
Here.
Christopher McMorrin.
Here.
Nielsen.
Here.
Rich Salsa.
Present.
Woody Hillett.
Present.
All right. Another election for the 2026 Chair and Vice Chair for the Budget Review Committee.
I'll nominate Nicole Hasley as chair and Kyle Cup as vice chair.
I will second that nomination. Cody Valencia.
Objections? The good times roll. All right. Next, we're going to do approval of minutes. And we start with the minutes of June 4th, 2025, the City Budget Review Committee meeting. Did everyone get a chance to look over that? Any changes, additions, corrections? Looking for a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Kyle. All those in favor? Any opposed? And then the minutes from April 29th, 2026, City Budget Review Committee meeting. Did everyone get a chance to look over those? Corrections, comments, concerns?
Or, excuse me, as presented.
As presented, not amended. Thank you.
I was reading the line in the minutes earlier. Just,
Brent, seconds. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now I believe we're going to have a presentation from Chris Workin. Slideshow, I believe.
We're going to skip the slide and we'll just refer back to the memo that was included in the front cover of your packet. I just wanted to give a little bit of background on the city services fee. I mentioned it in the budget message and we've been promoting it. We said we can try to get input, and with the budget committee, I want you to be aware of it as well. So I hope everybody had a chance and didn't overlook the memo because it was in the front and the first thing and had a chance to go through that. I won't spend a lot of time, but as we get into the questions, feel free to reference that or any part of the memo, and I'm happy to answer additional questions or bring back additional information for you. So just in summary, as far as background information, we're in what I would say that the state has a tax structure problem where in an effort to not overcharge households or have them pay more than what they can afford to pay, there's a cap on property tax revenue that can be collected by local jurisdictions. And with the city, that gets capped at no more than 3% growth per year on property taxes. But property taxes alone isn't what funds our general fund, right? It's the primary source. But if we only had property taxes, we wouldn't be able to run the city with the general fund. We are also reliant on shared revenue that comes in from the state. We're reliant on franchise fees that come in. Many of the programs that we do, like our Music in the Park and all that, we take sponsorships and donations to help carry those on. Obviously volunteers and volunteer time for many things as well, but we can't just be reliant on our property taxes in order to fund the general fund of the city. It takes more than that. And what we've seen over the last several years, along with many other cities within our state, is that there's only so much that we control on our expense side. We've got personnel expenses that are going up. We've had heavy inflation over the last several years that's added to our materials and services costs, our personnel costs as well. We've got PERS that gets run by the state that the city doesn't have a whole lot of say in. If at all, health insurance rates continue to go up despite the city's best efforts to be safe and keep employees safe and stay away from injuries and everything that we can do. Those costs continue to rise, right? And so it's put cities in a position where despite our best efforts to keep costs down, our costs are going up faster than the 3% of property tax increases every year. And so cities, by and large, are having to look outside of just the property tax source for revenue sources. And one of the areas that many cities have been using for years is like a local option levy. Many cities have those. Sometimes they're dedicated to general funds, sometimes they're dedicated to public safety. Others are dedicated towards other city services like libraries, swimming pools, recreation centers, those types of things get funded through a local option levy. So you often hear every 5 years those come up for renewal, and it's gloom and doom. I'll pick on our partners to the east a little bit. Every 5 years, it's all gloom and doom, because if the levy doesn't pass, senior center closes, the pool closes, and they go right down those. The library's gonna have limited hours, all of these things, and then hopefully the levy passes and then everybody can breathe easy and everything stays open. It's because they're reliant not on property taxes, they're reliant on that local option levy every 5 years to pass. The city doesn't have a local option levy, so we've not done that. We are still strictly just based on our property taxes coming in. Our franchise fees that come in have been decreasing, so we get franchise fees from like Pioneer, and we'll go through the list when we get there. Pioneer, Alerica, Pacific Power, any of the utilities that are using our public right-of-way, they pay the city to be in that public right-of-way and have the ability to have their utilities, their equipment in the public right-of-way. So we collect money from them every year. Well, as people are cutting the cable and going away from those traditional franchises, even as the city continues to grow, we're seeing decreases on income from franchises. Similarly, for better or for worse, our state revenue sharing from the state continues to decrease. People don't smoke like they used to. Marijuana kind of did its thing and it's dropped back down because the state decided they want to keep more than what they originally promised was coming to municipalities. Alcohol consumption, all those things, we're seeing declining shared revenue from the state as well. So by and large, when you look at where the city is getting the money and where that money is coming from, one of the options that we looked at, staff is considering, and floated out to the city council, was to look at a monthly fee that would go on the utility bills. This is very similar to the general fund fee that the city had, 8 years ago, I believe. I'm not gonna get the dates exact right, but we were in a similar situation where expenses were outpacing revenues. And we weren't seeing the residential development to kind of help build new property tax. And so the city implemented a general fund fee at that time to help supplement property taxes and provide some additional funding to that general fund. We're in a similar spot today. We'll talk through that. The memo talks a little bit about needs that the city has right now, specifically around public safety. Also our ending fund balance that's unallocated. The memo talks about this a little bit, and that we are heavily reliant upon not spending all of our money every year. As we get into the budget, you'll see that ending fund balance or unappropriated fund balance. It's money we're not planning to have to spend. It's there as kind of a reserve for us. But really, one of the main functions that carries, in addition to being kind of an emergency fund for us, is also serves to get us through from the start of the fiscal year, which is July 1, until we receive our property taxes, which isn't until November when those bills come due. So we've got that time period from July through November where we need that money in order to make payroll and pay all the expenses that we've got. So if the unappropriated fund balance drops down too low, not only do we not have that emergency fund and security, we also have to find other sources of revenue to temporarily borrow from in order to meet our payroll and other obligations. So we want that to be healthy. And the memo points out, I won't go through the exact numbers, but we were just over $2 million back in, I think, 2022, and that's steadily decreased over time to where this year, as staff was looking at it, without any intervention or doing anything different, we would have dropped well below $500,000 there, closer in the probably $400,000 range, which isn't nearly enough to get us from July, obviously, through November. So it would just puts the city in a lot of constraints. So The recommendation that we looked at and the way that the budget's been built, and I, again, will tie this into my message, but as far as the city services fee goes, is there's several things to look at still. When we talked about, cutting services, we talked about cutting personnel, when we talked about all of the good things that are happening in Philomath right now and trying to put in a stop to all that stuff, there just wasn't a good appetite for that. The local option levy takes a lot of time to put in place. It won't necessarily help us this year, so that seems like long-term. That might be something for the city to consider. But when asked about putting a city services fee into the budget, build it in to get some revenue for this year, the council gave the nod to say, yeah, let's build it in there, take a look, let's bring it to the budget review committee, and let's bring it to the public, and let's take input during the budget review process to see if it's something that we're gonna be good with moving forward, or if we need to make other changes in the budget. So I just want to be very transparent that nothing's been approved at this point. Nothing, the city council's not approved a city services fee. Staff isn't, saying this is the only thing that's gonna happen, and if not, the ship's falling apart. It's not the case, but there are some serious constraints we have that aren't necessarily a city of Philomath specific issue. We're one of many cities that has these constraints, and this is one funding option that the city is currently looking at to help us get through there and help supplement the property taxes for the city. So hopefully that was fairly clear in the memo, or that description added a little bit of clarity to the memo. And with that, we'll kind of conclude. We did want to make sure that we took time tonight to hear from the public. They've been invited to be here, provide testimony, provide feedback. We'll take testimony again at the next meeting on the 27th. So again, between now and then, we'll continue to invite the public to come, provide feedback. You did get, I'll just note, Nikki, we did get a few emails that came in on either the city council or the city hall email address, and then the generic email that comes in. So you'll see those in front of you. That's public comment as if they were here. They've submitted written comment ahead of time. And so we'll continue to do that. And again, based on that feedback, we're hoping that the budget review committee has some conversations about the city services fee, the budget with it, the budget without it, and maybe some options, right? Like, we're still very open to what this could look like going forward. So with that, I'll kind of end my comments there and turn it back over to you. And I think we can go ahead and open it for public comment.
Thanks, Chris. And I think these public comments are in Mike's binder to have answers for at next meeting. Perfect.
Questions to be answered. There's one of them is just a comment, so that'll be able to comment on it. But I will break them out separately. I'll have your questions, and then I'll have any citizens' questions.
Great. Thank you. All right, so this time we're going to open up to public comments. If anyone has signed in, would like to give testimony today. Crystal, do we have anybody?
Two written.
Okay. Yep,
And we should have.
we have those. Yep, anyone online that needs to?
No. I just have a question if I can.
You want to have her sign in, or? Yep.
Come on up, we'll welcome you in.
Come on in, Susan.
I just want to know if the public.
Can you come, okay, so
Yeah, it's the mic for the,
Yeah,
just state your name.
I'm Susan Halliday. I work for the Philomath School District.
Thank you, Susan.
I came tonight to listen. May come back next month to share, I may not. Is there any way or plan that the public comment that has been submitted in writing or in another way can be known to those of us who are here, so that I'm curious about what kind of comments people are making and what kinds of questions people are asking, so that I can be better informed to be able to make good decisions. And I just didn't know if there was a mechanism for that, or if that wasn't part of the plan or what. That's all I got.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Mike?
There is a plan. And
Okay.
it'll be- the package that they get next time will have all the answers, plus the comments. It'll be the whole package.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Great. Would you like to come up and quickly? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, I think if the city recorder might also be adding it to the packet electronically, is that correct?
I think that's what he was.
That's what I'll be doing.
Oh, electronically?
Yeah.
But you're saying in the next packet.
It'll be electronic still. I mean, it still goes online.
But I didn't say But yeah, for this specific packet.
Let's let the city recorder answer.
I do want to say that anybody who speaks today or any public comments that came in, I do add it in. So for today, it'll be
You'll be able to read those online. Yep. Would you like to just come up real quick, just your name?
I am Nancy Wise. I am a resident of Philomath, and I am also a Benton County Commissioner, but I'm here tonight just in my personal capacity, not reflecting any, my opinions do not reflect on Benton County. Just the quick and the dirty, I think the $14 fee is too much. I think that I would humbly ask this committee to request additional options, perhaps ask for some cuts along with a smaller fee and a longer term plan to sort of implement the fee staggered over time.
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comments at this time? Okay. Now we're going to go to a public hearing on possible use of state shared revenues.
On page 5. But we need to do that. We need to do that, get that out of the way, then we'll come back to the budget message.
What's that next year?
And put the budget message first.
Your agenda.
I know. Yeah, I change it all the time. Okay, we're gonna be talking about state share. The city of Philomath has 5 shares that we share with the rest of the cities and counties.
the public hearing.
Oh, yes, it is. We have to open up a public meeting. Yeah.
Maybe you just need to say.
Hit the gavel. You just say that.
I'm opening the public hearing.
There you go.
Sorry.
Not your fault. That was mine.
It's your good.
Sorry, we have 5 state shares that we split between the cities and the counties each year. The highway trust fund that goes to our street fund, liquor revenues, that goes to our general fund. Then we've got our marijuana taxes and that goes to the general fund. And then we've got cigarette tax. It also goes to the general fund. And the last one is the 911. We don't have 911, so we don't have any of the money. And what happens every year is the League of Oregon Cities puts out a state shared revenue report for us. And it gives us finance directors a way of projecting monies for the next year. So what I'm projecting next year for the state share, we get a split on all the 5 things, 5 revenues. And that's going to be 53,491. That's going to be the projection. And then when we get to the other 4, the liquor tax, cigarette tax, marijuana, and highway, that is based on per capita. There's 5,776 citizens in this Philomath, and we multiply it times the rates that the LOC have put together for us, and we come up with our numbers. The highway gas tax, which goes to the general fund, is this street fund, I'm sorry. 99% of that goes to this street fund. 1% goes over to the LBE, the Land Building and Equipment. We've been building up a bicycle path and trail budget or reserve or whatever for the last 5 years. And I think one of these days we might have a way to use it. I think on 17th Street, I think that's what we've got built in for this year. We actually have about 17,000 that we can do some work over there. So basically, paragraphs or the section C, I just basically show the summary of the proposed budget for next year. And I've got the wrong years, fiscal years. That should be 26, 27, not 25, 26. That the general fund, the total funds is going to be 35,123,960. General fund is going to be 6,462. And 148,000 of that's going to be is the state shared revenues. For street operations, it's 914 and 450,000 of that's going to be funded by the highway funds. And then we have the capital project funds where we're setting aside money for the bicycle paths and trails. And that is my report. Do I have any questions?
Just in case there's anyone new, the 1% allocation bicycle trail paths and trails is a state requirement.
Correct.
You have to have at least 1%.
Right.
Go to that.
Right.
So, we can't have all that money go to, the street fund.
Right, that is correct. All right. And if y'all want a copy of the state share revenue, it's pretty intense, but it's got the first 2 or 3 pages are the best. Tells you the history on your revenue. And like Chris has been talked about in his presentation for the city services fee. This revenue is shrinking every year. They keep taking more and more of it and they put it somewhere else. They did a new indirect cost proposal. We have no idea what it's going to do to us this year. LOC kind of said that. So our numbers could change. But I don't know that until I start receiving revenues.
Mike, statistically, when these revenue estimates been put in, how close to the mark have they traditionally been?
They've been very good, very good. This will be the first year that the county has,
I see.
not quite sure what could happen because of that.
I see.
Good question.
Awesome. Okay, so I need to close the public hearing at this time. Do I have to note the time or just close the public hearing?
Note the time,
Public hearing is now closed at 6:07.
right, because I have to do this twice. We'll do this when we do the budget adoption.
Okay.
I have to prove, no, not for you guys, it'll be council.
Oh, okay, because I didn't.
We have to prove all that to the state that we've done this, so we can get the money.
All right, so now I think we're moving on to business, which is the budget message.
And that begins on page 1.
You already closed the public hearing. I guess we should just make sure there was no one that wanted to comment in the public hearing, right?
It's true.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and do that.
Oh, okay, I apologize. Not in my notes. You're fine. Was there any public comments to the public hearing? Thank you. Better script.
We'll get there.
Okay.
You're doing great, Nikki.
Thank you. It's a little different this year, I feel like. I feel like it's different this year. But anyway. Okay, budget message. Do I read this? Or Chris read this?
I think last year we're reading it because everybody came and read it already. I'm happy to read it, but
We need to?
it's not required, it's presented, so.
You're the chair.
Yeah, you found it all.
I think you've had the book for a week. Is everyone good with the message?
Any questions?
Before we just jump in and get right to the good parts?
I had a quick,
Yeah, Kyle.
the second paragraph under key budgetary highlights says the $14 a month fee is informed and generate roughly 537. The website, I think, said like 4,400.
Good catch.
So
Yeah, oh, yeah.
is there a,
We've updated that number, so
Yeah.
I think, in fact, let's go right there since you asked the question.
That would be on right after the general page 12.
So page 12, potentially 4, you'll see it listed under there under revenue. It's in
032.
the 032XX, and it's actually 403,200.
Yeah.
Mike updated his number after I'd written my budget.
That's mine.
Thank you, Kyle.
And I'll add an asterisk next to any of the figures in there because the budget message got written a couple weeks ago and numbers flex and change.
Which one is it? Resources?
12 under fees.
No, page 2. Oh, wait. Well, yeah. Oh, here, 400.
Ah, thank you.
Yep. Service fee right there.
These are-
Yep. Little first. Awesome. Okay, anything else?
I'll find that okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Page 12.
You're very welcome.
You'll see, total fees, it's just right above total fees.
It's right below the middle of.
Between
in the
grants
whole
and total
bunch.
fees.
Right in the middle of the page. Or right here on page 12. Good there?
So I just had a question. So that's the actual expected revenue from the $14 fee.
Correct.
That's correct.
Based on our current and projected utility customers.
Do we have a version of the budget that doesn't show the $14?
It'll be this budget minus 403.
No.
Yeah, it's not necessarily spread out into multiple different departments. It's revenue, and it's really helping with the police, but it's helping with that ending fund balance. So just take that ending fund balance on the bottom of the, on the previous page, bottom page 11. The 705, 352 is what we're anticipated to have as unappropriated ending fund balance. If we don't do the fee, you can subtract the 402,000, the 403,000.
Are we going over that right now then, or are we gonna
Let's
come back?
No,
Okay, come back, okay. Okay, we'll start at the beginning and we'll get right back to it, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to go over the budget procedure real quick, just show a couple things. One thing that's on top, that property taxes, that particular, the property tax, structure that we had, measure 5 and measure 50, came around since 1997. And one of these days, the legislature got to fix that thing. But the last time that we fixed it, was somebody, it was a local person, Sizemore, Joe Sizemore. He's the one who pushed it through. It was fun back in those days, very interesting. But anyway, what I want to do is go to the budget review process real quick. One thing I wanted to note, number 3.
What page are you
I'm on page 2. I think. Doing any changes tonight or debated or anything, or taking questions and comments. We'll bring back your questions or your answers next week. It's going to be May 13th tonight. We're not doing anything. We're just taking your questions. If that's not May 27th, okay?
Oh, well,
Number 3, that should be May 13th.
Oh.
That's a typo. Otherwise, I mean, nothing's changed in the process, but like I said, we're gonna go page by page here shortly to start that. This year, I mean, we still have the same setup. We've got the narratives, and then we have the individual budgets. Each particular fund itself, I have a summary page at the very beginning that shows how the budget is structured. It shows you the revenue, it shows you the expenditures. So that hasn't changed, but then we have our budgets. We'll go through those. I've gone through, I've added the percentages as requested, and one thing that I added this year, anything over 10%, you'll see a highlighted yellow, I believe it is, or orange. Those are the ones I'm just kind of throw out anything over 10%. Anything under 10%, I think that was in gray. So it kind of just gave you a kind of a really, here, look at this, help you out real quick. If you don't like the colors, I don't like them, but that's a choice. So I'll figure out how to do it customized next time. We're going to do also, let Chelsea go through the personal services for the city of Paloma, which begins on page 6. And then we'll start with everything.
Yeah, similar to the budget message, I'm not gonna go through this line by line, it's really similar to last year. But for those of you who are new, last year we split out some of our explanations out of the budget and moved them to the front, so it was a little bit easier to kind of digest what was going on with personnel overall. And then just have a little bit of extra information, benefits and such. I will point out on page 7, we are seeing health insurance increases, which I'm sure everyone is seeing. It's not just the cities, obviously. And then also we had a little bit of shifts in our fund allocations for public works on page 8, but it's still same amount of staff there. We shift the allocations annually, just depending on what work they're doing. Does anyone have any questions about this section? Yes.
Are we adding one storm?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, we did add the storm position. Thank you for pointing that out.
Mike, I saw your hand earlier. Did you have something?
Yeah, I'd just like to know who put the Sudoku and, well, most importantly, the astronomy stuff.
I
I thought that was kind of
I
cool.
have an aversion to the blank page. See, you know, when it says blank page, I fill it in with something that's more fun. That's why you'll see some Sudoku in there. The Sudoku, there's also, I gave you the answer key, it's further back. And then I was looking at my astronomy book last night, or the night before I was doing this, I went, hey, I'll print this stuff out and put this in. So that's the main, you can see all the main constellations and all kinds of stuff, historic stuff. I'm an astronomy.
All right, before we jump in real quick, Spencer Irvin, I'm back at 6:13. All right, we ready to jump in? Yes.
So this $14 fee, the thing that you pointed out in your message is we're trying to cover extra costs vis-a-vis the police, right? Trying to be more competitive. You know, my understanding is that a city like Sweet Home is in a similar situation in which basically they hire police folks and then, you know, they go move on to Lebanon or then they move on to elsewhere. Do we think this is really going to have an effect, or should we be more realistic and realize that we're basically a training ground for police folk?
What would you like to know, Mike? That's a loaded question. Because tonight we're taking questions. We try not to get into too much debate, I think. We'll do that the next time, but no. What would you like to know? Because it's a good question. You added like 3. What would you like to know? How we're going to use the money, why we're doing it?
Well, I'm coming from a perspective of, you know, $14 a month. I mean, in some respects, some people might think that's not very much, but other people think that's a big chunk. So I just wondered if we need to be more, like I said, more realistic with respect to the fact that, hey, we're a small town. We're probably going to be training policemen or women, men and women. And they're going to be moving on. So do we really have to consider as a competitive? No, that's going to sound dumb, isn't it? Do we really need to be worried about being that competitive, since that's probably the reality of what we're facing?
Or a training ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder, like,
Gotcha.
like, do we think that investment will truly solve the problem?
Right.
That's
good.
a great way to put it. Is that what you're looking for,
Right,
Mike?
that's what we're looking for.
Perhaps, yeah, that's a better way, yeah.
Will Chief join us next?
Yes, the directors will be here.
I'll answer these questions.
Yes, Chief will join us.
Yes,
Seven
they'll
o'clock.
talk more to, they'll write one up and then they'll talk more to it. But no, thank you, Chris. That's good.
Just since we're asking questions about this, so kind of 2 questions I have is, the first is the potential raises that would go to being more competitive for the police force. Has that already been decided and implemented, or is that contingent on this fee? So that's my first question.
Okay, let me answer that question. They're a union, and so pretty much, yes, authorities, they're in negotiations at the moment. Chelsea, do you want to add anything to it? That way we can answer the question.
Yeah, I can come back with a little bit more information, but for the police specifically, we are in bargaining right now. Their contract expires June 30th. So that process has already been started. Obviously, I can't disclose a lot of information about where we're at with that, but we are in the process of that. So I can disclose that and see if there's any additional information that I can
We'll
provide at
bring
the
back
next
more,
meeting.
Jody.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What's your second?
The second question is, if we have any statistics on officer retention in the last 5 years, the officers that did leave, what agencies that they did go to, and if, I know this one's a long shot, and I'm sure this data doesn't actually exist for how you guys track it, but of those officers that did go to a nearby local agency, are they still with that agency?
I do have that information.
Yeah, let me help with the conversation a little bit. So I think one way to look at it from this committee is staff has had these discussions with the city council. The city council has their own strategic plan priorities surrounding being competitive with other agencies and things. And so the budget is built and we'll get to police. When you look at budget, you'll see that the police budget has increased just over $200,000. We're assuming in the budget that we're looking at what is kind of our worst case or best case, depending on how you look at it. What's the most that we're looking at needing the budget in order to fund the police department this year, knowing that we're still in negotiations with the police department. So we're budgeting conservatively to make sure that we've got enough money in there to fund our officers coming out of negotiations. That money, that dollar amount's not going to change. So the police fund, unless we're told otherwise by the review committee, has been built up $200,000 to help us be more competitive with Benton County and to keep us compliant with our state regulations when we're dealing with negotiations with law enforcement. So really, when we're talking about city services fee, it may be more helpful to know that that's a part of what the city services fee is going towards. But based on council direction at this point, we're kind of doing that anyway, like that money's going, we're putting extra money towards the police fund based on this budget. So it's really gonna be how much money's in that ending fund balance. So kind of like where I started at the beginning, if the city service fee is gonna bring in $402,300, if we don't have the city service fee or any portion of it that we don't collect, the ending fund balance is gonna be reduced by that much. So we can still change those numbers, but those budget has been built based on direction we've been given from the council on being competitive with other communities.
Thank you, Chris. Chris Moore?
Yeah, I'm just looking, like, this budget committee could absolutely reduce the police department budget if they wanted
Yes,
to.
I'm saying that the budget is built based on direction we've been getting from the council on priorities at this point.
Right, I'm just, because you were saying like, it would just reduce the ending fund balance, but that's not necessarily the case, because we could reduce a departmental budget instead of reducing the ending fund balance.
Christopher, you could tell us to cut a bottom line.
Right,
That's all that really you can do. You can't get
Yeah.
into the weeds.
right,
And then that director would go back and come back with a new budget,
right,
one way or the other.
yeah,
So that's what the budget committee can do.
yeah. I just want to make sure,
Please,
Numbers
let's not get into the
understand that.
weeds.
Yeah,
We can get there.
yeah.
Jessica?
Thank you. Yeah, two things. One is, I'd like to request that staff share whatever information they are able to, like with any redactions necessary. I don't remember the data that you all gave us, the city council previously, if any of that was an executive session or not, but whatever you can share, that would be awesome. And then, yeah, just to, kind of support what the mayor was saying that, like, we can adjust, we can say where to cut fund wise, but we can't, line item wise, correct? Cool. And that this
It's gotta be
hasn't been
unanimous.
decided yet.
It has to be a whole budget review committee.
Okay,
Okay,
ready?
yep.
Okay.
Each then, we're starting line by line and page by page. When we talk about the general fund, Chris, we're going through what our main sources of revenue are. One thing I remember if we said anything, we don't really get very many intergovernmental grants. The last one we got was the ARPA money, and I just closed that out the other day. Then we get miscellaneous revenue, we get kind of a mismatch. Page 11, that's the summary up there with the resourcing and the expenditures, line item, department by department, and then you see the ending fund balance. And as Chris noted in his budget message, our ending fund balance has gone 1.8, and I'm projecting it to go down to 705,000 for next year. Christopher?
I'm just curious on the grants one, should we include the like 2.6 million from Business Oregon?
That'll be over in the LBE fund.
Oh, okay.
You're getting ahead of yourself. That one, I always put those, that big grants like that for construction, I'll put them in the construction fund.
Okay, so they don't sleeve it down.
Well, it really tweaks, you don't want to tweak this fund.
Okay, my bad.
Good question, though, it is, I mean, because it could go here, but.
Okay.
If we're gonna construct it, we'll just keep it over in that one fund. So, then we start on page 11, or page 12. As we talked about already, the general fund fee or the city services fee is on page 12, it's 10-03XX, it's below the page. We're projecting 2.6, almost 2.7 property taxes. That's at the very top of the page. Our state shared revenues, the total other taxes is dropping down to 174,000. Franchise fees, it's been dropping. A lot of it's been happening it's in the cable industry. And then we also have, who else is going down? There's kind of the powers, but the big thing is the cable Comcast, been dropping down. Building permits, pretty steady. I mean, that's the total permits, it's about 3/4 the page down, 227 for next year. Then court revenue is kind of flattened down. Court revenue comes from our writing tickets and the like. So that's kind of steady. It's steadied out the last couple of years. I mean, we're in around 195. But it spikes. So, but a lot of our revenue in there spikes. The only one that's really kind of consistent that grows is property taxes. So we're still limited. The only thing that can go is 3% or 3% plus growth or construction. Miscellaneous income. We got the very first line on page 13. Very first line item, bus user fee.
Oh, yeah, I highlighted that one.
That one is kind of steady, but it also, when we get to the city council budget, you'll see the bus fee that we pay to Corvallis to run our bus service. And it's gone up to almost $200,000. This used to be pretty much, we made money. We were making money when ARPA was around and COVID money was flowing. When that money went away, it switched around, and when we get there, Chris he'll tell you the story on that one particular item. So let's see the other things that are in there. The lien search, what that is when title companies when they do a search on a property around here, we charge them. They have to come to our database, and so we charge them a fee. And it's been growing, but but it fluctuates. It's also when it spikes like that. I mean, if there's no property sales, there's no. But I wanted to show you that one. That one just stuck out. And then for the overhead and transfers, that's monies that that covers our operational administrator for the street, urban renewal, and water and sewer. That one particular, they're pretty much flat. I cut that one back. The main cut back there was the URA, like I mentioned over in that fund. It's heading into sunset, so we need to get away from administratively. It's starting to wind down. Interest used to be a good number, but that one is just so far all over the board. It's hard to predict what we're going to get. Our cash balance carrying forward, it's been dropping. It's down to 1.4 after being up around 2 million back in 23-24. So it's dropped down 600,000 roughly. So I'm showing total resources for the general fund at $6,462,000. Got any questions on the revenue?
Chris,
I feel like I ask this every year and I always forget. But
It's okay.
can you remind me, what are the bus user fees, since we don't actually charge?
What is that? I don't know. He's the bus expert.
It's money that, it's federal grant money essentially that gets cleaned for user fee in lieu of, part of our agreement with Corvallis is for us to not charge user fees. And as part of that, then we submit for federal funding to offset what we used to collect for user fees. We just state it as user fees still because that's what it used to be.
I have a piece of that as well. I sit on several.
Oh, right, sure.
Committees, right, at Campo and the rest of them. This year it has been very difficult all the way around, and it's a cascade effect because part of the services depend on state funding, and we know the kind of things that's part of ODOT is part of that. So you can kind of read into a lot of that, but part of ODOT as well is dependent on federal funding, which is dried up. So it's a knock-on effect that comes all the way down the pike, and so you're going to see lots of very large swings and things like just these little services that we kind of came to depend on. That no longer, we just can't do that anymore because it's just, the funding is just literally dried up. So that's a piece, it's not all of it, but it is a fairly large part. And it's like I said, it's a ripple effect that it affects all sorts of systems, not just ours. Yeah, and we are dependent on other systems like the Corvallis system, et cetera.
I guess just following on, I'm just curious then with the increase in revenue for that, why we anticipate such a large.
We're not applying for some of the infrastructure, some of the money that last year we used for bus shelters, we're instead using for
operations.
asking for operations
Okay,
instead.
okay. Thank you. Can I ask one more question?
yes.
On the cash balance forward, I also just want to make sure I was understanding that right. That even with the services fee, we're actually decreasing our cash balance forward by 600,000?
That particular number comes from the estimate, the actuals, that's on this operations this year.
Yeah, okay.
That's carrying forward. It has nothing to do with the $400,000.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
addition.
That's, yeah, what we're left with on June 30th.
On June 30th,
Okay.
that's what we're gonna have in cash.
Okay,
That's my projection.
okay. My bad.
Do the same thing too.
You good?
Do you else have any questions on any of those line items?
This is kind of a summary sheet too, so we'll get more into the detail. Part.
Okay, move on.
Okay, turning page 14, administration department. That is Chris's department, taking care of general administration, the city, the planning, economic development, community development, and so on. Then they've got their narratives there, showing their particular line item, what they're spending their money on. There's 3 people in that one, 3 FTE, that's Chris, Chelsea, and Crystal. Yeah, I've been your name all day. Sorry.
She has a name.
I know. Still lose it. Sorry. Okay, their budget is on page 15. The only thing that we don't really control this is of course, the personal services. A lot of the salaries have been set for the last couple of years. So their budget went up 9.82% on salaries and all the benefits. With overall operational materials and services went down 2.97. When we built our budgets this year, Chris gave a directive to us, directors, to cut back as much as you can, try to stay to last year's budget, and we did the best we could. There are some, when you get to mine, you'll see I've got the audit, I've had to take on a couple of new things, and when we get to mine, I'll show you that. For Chris, and Chris and Chelsea, I mean, is there anything you want to say about your materials and services or personal services?
Anything to add?
Yeah. Any question, y'all? Cody?
Yeah, kind of first question, so down in the 55 fund, the recording fee, through your 25, 26, 8 months actual, that 40,191.
Yep.
Is that a typo or just something, a cost that usually isn't accounted to that category?
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
Report. That's five.
5505.
Yep,
Yep, just seems pretty far off.
got it. Okay. What else?
So this is gonna be kind of for all of the funds, but so the PERS fund, 5520, it goes up at a much higher percentage than salary increases. And back on page 7 in your employee benefit highlights for the fiscal year,
Right.
under that, it says that the public, the PERS system is based on the biennium, so no rate change. So it just seems a little conflicting, so
No,
just,
formula issue that I had to fix. And so you can see that throughout the whole,
Okay.
every one of them.
so,
It's just one of those, it was a glitch that we got in our system, so we fixed that.
okay,
And everybody said last year, why is it so low? So I'm like, well, we caught up.
Okay.
One of those whoops, so we fixed it.
okay.
Anything else?
Maybe.
Chris?
I'm just curious about attorney fees. It looks like we've not been using anywhere near 50,000 the last couple of years. And I'm curious just why we put 50,000 in there. But
We're gonna probably use that up this year. We put actually through a lot of pace and a lot of things the last few weeks. I mean, this number is as of, starting December, February 28th, so we've got 4 months to go. So I've used her quite a bit for SDCs, Chris has used a lot for his other projects, planning and stuff, so Ashley's gonna use it up. And we also have the labor attorney, isn't the labor attorney going here too?
Yeah, it's separate, but yes.
and that was another thing, just next fiscal year.
I don't know that will be finished this fiscal year, so we did.
But because we carried forward how much?
2,000?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, maybe if we have any estimate of what we think, like
That is our estimate.
well, no, for the attorney, like what the estimate of actual like year to date.
Like the labor attorney?
No,
Yeah, attorney.
yeah, like just,
For accurate, for today's.
I guess, just because like we spent 23,000 in 24, 25, right now we're at 17,000. Just trying to get an estimate of like,
Okay.
I don't doubt that we've used her more, but like there's a big gap between 17,000 and 13,000.
Just curious, line item 5034, the attorney non-contract. I know it's not a huge amount here, but boy, I guess, is it Ashley, you said?
What's a firm? We have.
And this is a non-contract, so there's so much going on that we had to take somebody else.
Yeah, we actually, I mean, I can bring it back, but it's a pretty quick answer.
Yeah.
We have the attorney, which is our contracted city attorney that the council selected, the firm is city attorney. Non-contract items, those are items that don't fall within that. So sometimes we have to consult an additional attorney, and we will write this out too and bring it back. And then the labor consultant is yet an additional attorney. So the non-contract is sometimes an employment related issue, so I have to use a different attorney firm. Our firm doesn't do employment law. So that's what that would come out of, but I'll write it out and bring it back to you.
Great, thank you.
But you're right, there's several in there. It's fun to know which one to.
Mhm.
Moving up.
Okay, moving to the building department. This is where we track all of our plan reviews, inspections, and then charge people to do the constructions. We have, we reduced that from 1.23. We moved, Milani time up, so she went from 0.48 to 0.7. The difference there, again, to a contract planner, you'll see that line that in there. So we'll jump over to the budget on page 17. The big reason that particular payroll went down is because we had an associate planner that were replaced with a, like I said earlier, contract planner. And that's down in materials and services. So the biggest increase down there is basically having that contracted planner. The building inspections, a lot of that happens in the next couple of months before the end of the year. Because it is seasonal. So we'll probably come in at 75,000 there, but we can also have we can use that whole budget up. And we used it up about 4 years ago. So Chris or Chelsea, anything y'all like to add on this budget?
I had a similar question just to the attorney one up for here for the county building and electrical inspections.
Mhm.
It looks like we usually spend 70 to 80,000. It looks like we're on track to spend about that same amount this year. I'm just curious why we keep budgeting many tens of thousands of dollars more than that.
What?
Okay.
We've got a really big subdivision that's
Yeah.
sitting out there waiting to have a lot of activity on it. And this might be the year that we need it, so.
Yep. We never can come back with an estimate, but it'll be a guesstimate big time. Because we out there is working.
Okay.
You want to see a different number?
No, right now.
Anybody else?
Okay, we're gonna do those two budgets. We're gonna have it simultaneous. And the finance department, page 18. We basically do the accounting, the payroll, and the budgeting. And anything else we can think about. There's 2.92 people. Myself, I got an accounting specialist, she does payroll and AP, and then I have a utility billing clerk. She does billing, utility billing, she does the cash proceedings. She's split between this fund and the municipal court. And on my budget, page 20, and we're going up 9.78 in payroll. That's pretty much standard throughout the department. Within my materials and services, my audit fees, they're going up this year, mainly because I have a federal audit I have to do besides the regular audit. It's kind of spendy. When we get ARPA dollars, which we're using for the water treatment plant, it has to be reviewed. I do two audits basically. And so that's why it's gone from, what is it, 36,000 or 33,000 to 46,000. That's out of my control. I've got to have that audit done. I cannot do it. It has to be done. And then for credit card fees, we're trying to get really, really tough on that. They're not giving us breaks anymore. So it's starting to jump on us. You're going to see that through couple places that collect cards, take credit cards. And as I told you earlier, computer support, that is my support for all my software, and some of it's used by Public Works. We like to keep our support areas in one spot. So I'm paying for the utility billing system, and also They're using the backflow system, and I just moved Bell from our network to Cassell's cloud for a little bit more stability and quickness. And so that's why that particular thing has gone up.
Cassell's our financial software for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know.
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay.
And so basically, those are the big ticket items that went up this year. Everything else is pretty much flat. Any questions on the finance budget? So,
Yeah, credit card fees. So the city pays the credit card company,
Yes, we
and
do.
somebody charges it on their credit card.
Part of doing business is how we're looking at it. And one of these days, we have been talking about adding a user fee, but we have to do it all across the board. You can't just pick one place and do it. So, but we are thinking about it.
I just wondered because a lot of places do that now. I mean, I don't like it, but
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it all over the world. I mean, yeah, you see it wherever you go anymore. They charge you for using credit. So,
Maybe, would that be a question for next, like,
what would you like to know?
if the council adopted a policy of passing along credit card fees, what would the total impact to the general fund be? Or maybe not just general, I guess probably so. Yeah, so I guess that's what would that difference be?
Off of that. Oh, interesting. Credit card related purchases are made over the city website. I mean, what do you? I don't know.
Well, yeah, council.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah.
A lot more than there used to be, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's really flipped. We don't get very many checks, but we get a lot of electronic checks. So,
Auto pay.
auto pay, well, that's, believe it or not, that's kind of dying
yeah.
out. Yeah, that's dying
sure.
out. We don't really want to do that because I have to control their bank information. That's got to be locked up and kept away from those things. So anyway,
Just curious.
I'll get you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has flipped. I mean, I brought that to council before. I'll dig that out. So,
Anything else for finance? Moving on.
okay, jumping over to the municipal court. This is something that the city likes to have run, and we've got he is retired. He doesn't have his operations up in his office anymore. He does basically municipal courts wherever, he's got quite a few of them. That's Larry Blake. So he comes in every 2 weeks and they have court. I've got him, we pay him a salary and he's 0.25. And then I've got Brianna, she's my specialist. And then Diana, she comes over and she helps 0.8% of the time. Basically 2 hours every 2 weeks. And their particular items, you can see that, the citations handled, that's the tickets that we gave them right. Like I said earlier, it spikes, it varies. It just depends on who's out there writing them. And then we're gonna see prisoner care. That's something that we're starting, you'll see it in the budget, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up. That's 5475 prison care. We always carry a budget of about $10,000. And heaven forbid if we ever run through that, but we may have that happen this year. And also Dave and Dave Kirkby, our chief, they're looking into doing rentals on beds elsewhere. So that could increase that cost too.
I was just gonna ask, is the new jail, the sheriff's department gonna have an effect or aid in that?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what shakes out. That's a good question, Nikki. I don't know. Do you want to ask, we can.
I don't even, yeah, if you want, I mean, chief will be here, I can.
Let's write it down.
Put it
Okay,
down,
chief.
yeah.
You need some questions.
Yeah, he does need some
I
questions.
mean, the last time the sheriff gave a talk, they were out of beds. I mean, they had no space for anybody. That was a couple years ago, and
Right.
so
There's something.
I can
in the-
see why our housing goes up.
Yeah, there's a new system out there. Brianna was telling me about it that Dave and the judge are looking into because, you know, we take them to the county and they let them go. And just there's no ramifications. We've got some people that really need to be locked up.
Well, and I think the county was taking them to other places too,
Yeah.
like the Dalles and.
Yeah, well, there's some kind of system
Yeah.
out there, so Dave and the judge are looking into that, so we'll figure that out. But yeah, I'll ask about the jail, the new jail, what that's gonna do.
To clarify, because the original budget for 25-26 was 8,000, but we're only at 2,580.
Sorry, what are you looking at?
We're talking about prisoner care.
Prisoner care.
But we're only at 2,580 for the 8-month actuals. That doesn't seem like we will
Hit 9,000.
hit.
Right.
Yeah,
What's
so,
going on right now? Currently, we have one particular person that's been locked up for the last couple weeks. So
gotcha,
yeah, you're not gonna see it until the end of the year.
gotcha. So it's like a particular, like something has happened to where we are paying higher costs now compared to the rest of
We
the
actually have two or
financial.
three in
the
the
fiscal year.
System, and it's not cheap.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I was just curious because like in the prior actuals for the 2 years prior to that, those fiscal years
Yep.
are more on the order of 5,000.
No, I hear you, but yeah.
We can just bring that back for the
Yeah,
chief answer,
Yeah,
I think.
we can do that,
It's related, I think. Last question, yeah.
yeah.
Chris, did you have something?
The judge, and this is maybe a separate conversation, I'm curious about the fact that he's salaried at 0.25 as opposed to just hourly billed like the way we do all of our other attorneys, because it also feels like his workload would be highly dependent month to month on how many cases there are.
I think he's one of your
He
appointees.
sure is, and that's part of why I'm asking that, but maybe should that be a council discussion later?
Yeah, we can look, I mean, I think it averages out throughout the year.
It's based off the average.
Yeah,
We can look at it, but I know there's time outside of just that time when he's here, where he's having conversations with Brianna and he's
Sure,
having other interactions and responding to email and answering questions from chief. So there's time outside of just that courtroom hourly and.
You think of it more, it's more similar to almost like a retainer, such like we pay
yeah,
for
it
our,
is.
for our court attorney.
Yeah.
Similarly,
Yeah, because, yeah,
X amount per month and.
yeah, they've got we have a special attorney that comes in for that, that's the legal expense. And that's on the contract. Yeah. Well, what would you like to know about?
Well, I guess, another question. You say he's salaried, does that mean he's also getting benefits?
Yep.
He's retired?
Not every, because of the amount of hours, so not applicable benefits by law, not
Right.
benefits that like a full-time employee would be eligible for.
Okay. I don't know if I have a question right now, because that feels like a council discussion.
Yeah, it's maybe,
Yeah.
it's a little more deep, I think.
Yeah.
One more. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And this is very, very fine budget dust, and it's really just about budget principle. But in 5465, the postage, we've gone a couple years where it's fluctuated quite a bit. Last year was 800, but you've spent none this fiscal so far. Just the rationale of why we increase that? Because
she just spent almost
Okay.
$1,000, yeah.
Okay.
That's why,
It's just-
Yeah. Another thing that she.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
I totally understand stuff fluctuates, and so that's why I'd be comfortable leaving it at that 800, but if I'm seeing no actuals and there's an increase, that just leads me to question the budget.
I'm sure I talked to her and she just spent the money the other day, so. And she plans on doing it again next year, so. I make sure they spend what if they don't spend it, I cut it, and they know it, so. Good question, Cody.
All right, moving on.
Okay, police. Page 24. No, we got that. I don't know what more to say about police. We got Team 4, law enforcement, full-time office staff, part-time investigator, he's a .1, I believe. So there's 11.1 FTE in that particular fund budget, whatever. The big highlight there is Dave was able to get the fiber optic cable. They found another less expensive alternative that'll show up in your budget, his budget. He also has a prisoner care that's not as big as what we have over in the court. So you'll see that. His budget, like we said, it went up 200,000. You can see that 12.28%. It's almost 2.1 versus 1.8 this year. His big ticket items that, everything else, he toed the line where he could and where he had to increase that's based on a contract. And subscriptions, that's a lot of it. We're doing contract IT work there, and some of his also. And what else? Any questions on that?
What is special assignment? Like, what special assignment?
Oh,
Maybe like taser, if they can train other officers on
Oh.
taser, or field training officers that take
Okay.
the officers in
Okay,
their training.
okay. Yep, sorry, I saw Chris first, and you.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Oh, okay, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Same question as usual on the vehicle and body camera. I'm just curious why we keep budgeting 25,600 when we don't spend more than.
well, in theory, he's got a contract for that, but we'll bring it back.
Okay, because that feels like we've never spent anywhere near that amount of money.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I was just curious about the increase in the car wash. If is that water's gone up or there's.
I can bring that back.
In our own cars?
Yeah, they take it to a car wash.
They look pretty.
Yeah, doesn't the rookie?
Or if there's,
do that?
are there more?
There are.
More, okay, but you don't need to ask,
You know,
If there are more cars, that makes sense to me.
I will scratch that one, Carl.
Cool, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, in the immediate and advanced certifications line item, are we expecting officers to have more certifications this year that we're going to be providing, or is that part of the potential CBA changes where that rate's going to go up? Because it just looks like specifically with that one, we budgeted another 17,000, but we're 8 months through the fiscal and haven't even spent half of what we budgeted for 25, 26.
Yeah, we can bring that back, but it's not related to an increase in percentage. It's related to maybe that there's an officer that we know is going to be eligible and seeking advanced certification versus the intermediate or basic. Or more than one officer. We have, some that have worked
I
out.
can see it. I don't know what it is. I'll have to look at it.
One question, the longevity pay, is that exactly what it sounds like, or exactly the officers have been here the longest, I'm assuming? And is that part of the plan for being competitive with, is that something you see, and I'm not,
We
they
can,
deserve it, yes, but
we can bring that back too,
just
but
like
that's,
that's part of the competitiveness that we've talked about with the service fee.
no, we have that in place. That's
Okay.
already in place. It's in
Okay.
union contracts
About
currently.
longevity.
And it's intended for someone who has been working here for a very long time. And then I believe it's 10 and 15 years. There's little increments because they obviously are no longer eligible for step increases or generally their pay doesn't
They're at
go
the
up.
top of their pay
Right,
scale.
right.
Okay.
It's I would say it's a retention thing. It is intended to hopefully keep
Right.
employees here
Part of
instead of
the-
going somewhere else where they get paid more and have more steps available.
That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Now you're there, sorry.
You're good. Yeah. And then just if anyone wanted to take a look, we have the current contracts for AFSCME as well as the police department that are going to change. But if you want to know the current ones, they're online.
Chris.
Um,
Oh, sorry, Mike, I'm coming back, go ahead.
Okay, for education and training, it also just looks like we've never spent that amount, and I know we, I think, increased that amount last year. I'm just curious if that's happening, given that we're not, it doesn't look like we're spending it that much faster than we used to.
We'll bring
We
it back.
can bring it back.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I have actually two questions. Line item 5369, Lane Benton 700 megahertz radio. Gosh, that's expensive. What the heck is that? Then the second question is, are you sure you've budgeted enough for gas and oil?
Yeah,
That's a good question. Let's bring that one back.
well, I heard it's gonna go down really soon.
Oh, yeah.
Someone keeps saying it on the news.
Oh, I have another question. Sorry.
Okay, go for it.
Do we lease that office as a city building?
Oh, yeah, the office lease.
What number are you on?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the second page, so page 27, top of the fund.
It's
The
no.
office lease?
They didn't do that back, but I believe
Yeah.
it's, I think it's leases on office equipment.
Oh, thank you.
So it's not very bad,
Good
and I-
job, I didn't
I
think
think
about
we
that,
have-
Jessica.
Kind of everything.
I'm like, can we lease?
Oh, yeah, if you look at the narrative.
Okay, yeah.
For copier.
Yes, it's Jessica got
Not
it.
only did we lease that building, we leased the entire building for only $3,000.
Okay, I didn't think about that. Thank you, sorry.
But I can absolutely see how.
I'm not worried about that anymore.
Can I just add on to my question about education and training? I had a similar question around travel and meals. It looks like we're not spending near the budget on that one. That's kind of a combined question.
Yeah, it is. They work together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, let's, yeah.
More questions?
Go ahead, Mike.
So actually, right under office lease, subscriptions, we went from like not spending anything to 24,000 this year.
we'll bring that one back.
We do have good information from last year too. It was, new. We really had them for us.
What does it say?
But we can bring that back.
Okay, thanks.
Rain? Is that?
Not that range, different
Okay.
range.
I was like, why is that coming from?
But when the chief talks about that, that's where my brain always goes, oh, you
discussed it last year.
No, it's checking. Yeah. It's always so many acronyms.
Right. Ready? Buildings.
Building. Okay. This particular item, this is where we do what is it? We got our maintenance and our janitorial services and utilities in here for the city-owned buildings. We've got buildings and grounds working now. And he's got,
It's split.
yeah, he's split a couple different places. So
I
that's-
will, I'm gonna interject.
Go ahead.
I will note, in case you didn't notice in the front, in the personal services section, you won't see, the FTEs and these, because they're split out so randomly. So we put the chart in the front to kind of show you how all public works are split with funds. Because it is, Mike has his ways of tracking all of that, but, it's just kind of complex.
Yep.
Hey, can I ask one question on that? So for the new FTE in Storm, is that still gonna be the same? Like, are we actually hiring a person to do Storm, or are we allocating one FTE worth of utility worker that we're gonna then divide amongst all of them?
There's gonna be one person.
That's a good question
Yeah.
for the public works director, I think.
We can-
So let's
Keep
ask
that
that when
question.
we get the storm.
Page 29, their budget increased, personnel services 4.95, with everybody else. Their materials and services went down 9.26. Big increase they had there is also subscription, so I'll just go ahead and write that one down.
You're good.
And I think we'll also with the subscriptions at like here.
Yeah, it's gonna be added.
Particularly when they've got subscription services for their software upgrades, for their.
It's everything going to the cloud really is a lot of it.
So like Microsoft subscription for Adobe, yes.
Big tech.
It's a
Yes.
big jump, but it's mouse nuts
It
compared to
is.
everything else.
It's a good question. I see it consistently throughout. So.
I added that back for the police, so.
Can you talk about the decrease in contracted services?
No,
I thought
that's
I
gonna do that.
Okay. I mean, I like seeing an 84% decrease. I just,
Right about that.
I just, as long as we're not gonna like stop mowing the grass or something.
No, I think it has to do with us, that we were
Oh.
contracting out.
There is a little bit in the narrative on that piece.
But we will answer it.
Yeah, yeah. Question.
Yes, go.
For the grounds maintenance, 5315, just looking like we're not really spending what we're budgeting on that. And so just curious if there's planned projects or maintenance issues that they know of to account for that
Okay.
higher budget item.
Got it.
Well, we're all right. Go ahead.
This might be another sort of philosophical question. So sorry. And then maybe it's more of a city council thing too, so just tell me to be quiet if you want. But I'm curious just for buildings and grounds, if we should include like the Kugler shelter in buildings and grounds rather than parks, because it's a building. Like we don't include the police station in the police fund, we put that in buildings and grounds. And I'm just sort of curious, like what do we define a building as, I guess?
Yeah, we can bring it back, but I would say it's pretty standard for park buildings to be in park.
Okay.
Yeah. There's probably a reason for that. I don't know that reason. I just know that that's pretty standard, but
Okay. Yeah, that's, I
that
realize
is
that's
kind of
not-
a philosophical.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll look at it.
Okay.
Mike?
This-
Go ahead.
Sorry, but I've noticed it's in other areas of the budget. The sick and vacation accrual jumps around a lot. Why is
The PERS that we,
No, what
No.
that is
and
it's
64820 in this particular budget?
I can speak to that, to the whole budget. It's based on the person's, leave bank. If they were to leave, it's gonna hit the fund really hard. And so I always put like a cushion in there. If somebody retires, it covers it. If you look back on the police, there's a couple there where we actually used it, and also in public works. So if somebody were to retire or leave, that's what we use to cover up on that. I'll actually move money. It's kind of a contingency in payroll. If not, I actually use it if it's needed. I mean, I don't know what more I can say about it. It's based on, I look at each individual fund, I look at their lead bank. Kind of and say, okay, if somebody were to leave, what's it gonna do? It's a,
did you pay that out there?
we will pay it out. Yes, we pay that
It's
out.
not use or lose.
Do you want to write that down so that other members,
Yeah.
we can also just write it out?
There are missing some people.
Mr. McMorrin?
See, and the problem is when I raise my hand, I have a question. And then by the time it's time to ask the question, let me.
We're moving on.
This is just like a technical question. Is there a reason why we have buildings and ground worker as two separate line items that one takes over in 2025?
Yeah, there's a technical difficulty.
Okay,
If you, I think it's in parts. We missed it a couple years ago. She wasn't careful when she set one up. I don't know if it's this one or it's another one, but the numbers are out of sync. So that's why I've got a note in my journal entries to move all the numbers around at the end of the year so I have them in the right place.
Okay.
So it's the custodian, it could be the GIS. So you may see some really weird. I wish I could fix it, but I can't. I keep going to Julie and she's finally said, Mike, we've talked about this 10 times. No, go away. It's one of those,
okay, yeah.
I just can't explain it. I don't want to come back with an answer. The answer I have for you, there's a technical problem.
Okay.
And I'll fix it at the end of the year.
Okay.
Moving to parks. Okay, here's where we can do our accounting for all the operations of the parks, with 66 acres of parkland. Got the restroom facility, shelters, all maintained here. Also the building grounds worker, utility maintenance people are allocated here. It's like Chelsea said, they change it every year, so it's crazy. We have two part-time people that will be doing the summer with the line and so on. We've got some policy with for new security cameras over at Mary's. Okay, so let's go to the budget, which begins on page 32. Their payroll budget went up 1.54. Around with everybody else. Their expenditures, materials and services went down 6.83 on page 33. Nothing really, we've got a couple increases of around 20%, but with small line items, so it really nothing jumped out at me. Do you have any questions?
We better read something from the slides. Yeah, education and training. So the city trains people on how to properly apply pesticides.
Yeah.
To go to the OSHA.
I assume they're also.
Not a question, but a quick comment.
Go ahead.
I just want to appreciate you guys reducing the grounds maintenance budget to be better in line with that. So I just want to say kudos to that. It's not all, I don't want to be here just asking questions, so.
Okay.
All right. City Council. Page 34. Like I alluded to earlier, the budget authorization, this is the City Council's budget for their training, the travel, the membership dues, and so on. We've got discretionary funds in here to support the strategic plan and other community projects. The bus operation accounts has increased. Talk about that in a minute. And the labor consultant, that's coming up for the council priorities, the visioning project. So their budget begins on page 34, or not page 34, page 35. Before we go there, on the bottom, transfers, we've got transfers for the street fund. A couple of years back, we moved the Pioneer Republic franchises. It was over in the street fund. We moved it back to the general fund. Now we've transferred it back over to the street, just so we've got kind of, know where the money is. We keep all the, franchise fees together. So, and then, of course, the transfer of LBE, that's the annual contribution from the general fund for a capital fund. So now page 35, we'll let you guys kind of pick it apart. If you got any questions, let me know.
So the labor consultant is actually the,
Well, the 2050.
okay, because earlier when we were talking about labor consultant, I remembered a 60,000 somewhere, and I was like, are
Well, and
we
I
doing more
think-
negotiation? I
Yeah,
was
I
scared.
think it used to be in there. We had to use that, put that somewhere.
Okay. But, and that's still mostly using the grant funding this year, it's not,
Yeah.
okay.
The flower basket budget, is that after you guys gotten some possible sponsorships that you looked for?
We can bring that back. That's the cost of the flower basket program, so we assume the financial cost for the program and anticipate.
Revenue show up under miscellaneous in the
Right.
general fund, it's miscellaneous income.
The money just passes through the city.
Got it,
Right.
to another bucket,
Yeah.
bucket passing.
Let's get you.
I just think that you're just in the bucket.
I'm learning.
You're listening.
I am.
Mike, I was curious, and I know this maybe is not directly city council. Maybe if you can shed some light on for the committee, just some of the context around splitting out the unappropriated reserve into reserve for future expenditures.
We have a
contingency.
policy that the council adopted a couple months ago. We split out, total expenditure, first line item, 12% reserve. That's the first number for unappropriated reserve. That's 12% of that. And then we go take the general fund expenditures of 5.215 million. Then we multiply that 12, and that's what the reserve is. And then we do the contingency based on that number less the reserve, and then anything left over goes into the reserve for future expenditure. As like I said, council put this together or adopted a couple months ago, and it's something that it's kind of required by budget law. I'm not a big fan of the reserve for future expenditures, but it's something that if there's an emergency, we can actually get to that by a supplemental budget. Whereas we can't touch the reserve because that's supposed to be for next year's first couple months of operation. So budget law, we can't touch that. But the reserve for future expenditure and contingency can be spent, but only by a supplemental budget. Hopefully that explains it for you. It's kind of got some weird nuances to it here and there. Kyle?
Yeah, the public art budget looks like it's half of what it was for the 25-26. The net change to 0. Is that just a typo?
Oh, same
You're
with the-
asking for, what was the question specifically? Just why was it cut in half?
And
Not why
Why
was
was
it
the
cut in half, it's
percentage
just the percentage
zero?
0.
The percentage on the
Yeah,
side is
because
zero.
I got an error on that. I have to go fix that.
And to clarify, there will be money spent on that by the end of the fiscal year. That's not, we're not spending any money on that.
Yeah, I think we're planning on spending the whole thing and then
Yeah.
turning over the other.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend half of it this year and half
Okay.
next year.
I guess just the reason I brought up the unappropriated reserve versus future expenditure versus contingency is because I feel like if you're just looking at unappropriated reserve, that makes it look a lot worse than it, like, we haven't completely cut the unappropriated reserve in half. We've kind of split it up into those three reserves. Like, you know, you're just looking at the fact that it was 1.2 million and it's now 521,000, like, that's also because we split some of it out, I guess, I just wanted,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, question, the bus, 200K to Corvallis, you said?
Yeah, that's the operations. We will bring that back.
And why exactly does it fall under city council?
It's their program, they want to be us.
As opposed to all the other city programs, which aren't our programs.
My question.
Well,
Yeah.
we provide, I mean, it's asking thing to ride the bus, right?
But you mean, why is it in the city?
The question is where, I mean, where would you put it? You
I don't
know,
know. General fund? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Why?
City service, that's,
Chris might have a more specific answer.
Well, the technical answer is the city service fund used to be called the miscellaneous fund.
Yeah,
That's
The
right.
state didn't like us having a miscellaneous fund as a fund,
right.
so we renamed it, and we renamed it city council. Because it was all the things that are kind of discretionary that the council gets to weigh in on. I mean, technically, council would like to say, we're not gonna do the bus anymore, so in some ways, it's a little more discretionary than like a city attorney, which falls on the city administrator budget, city manager budget, because we have to have a city attorney. Can't just like cut that, right? So the things that are a little more discretionary in one form or another tend to fall in what used to be the miscellaneous fund, which we now call the city council fund.
Well, could we move that to like public works or something? I mean, a lot of cities put transportation under that. Like the city of Corvallis, all of their transit operations are in public works. That's who we're paying it to.
Bus stop.
Yeah, I'd have to do some
Oh, yeah,
music
yeah.
on that one. See how they're doing it.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that a question?
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
philosophical question? I'm
Pretty philosophical.
It's funded through the general fund, it's not funded through transportation. Or,
We have parks are funded through the general fund.
Right,
So-
it's in the general
It's not a
fund.
council
No, the
question. I was just,
Okay, yeah,
I'm just trying to,
Parks is the general.
we can move on
yeah, yeah. I'm just-
unless there's any other questions.
I don't exactly have a question, I'm just curious as to where is the 200,000, I mean, so Corvallis thinks that I mean, we have to spend 200K to have buses here in Paloma?
We'll bring back
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that
I
one.
think that,
'Cause I mean,
it's worth me bringing.
Yeah,
can we negotiate a better deal?
I think we tried.
Oh, probably, yeah, man.
I think we tried.
Do you want to
However,
briefly touch on that,
we're
Chris?
in negotiations with them right now, so we're looking at past bills and we're trying to head to where we think we'll be able to negotiate with them for now, but we are negotiating, trying to get a little bit better.
The only other question I have is Council of Governments dues. It jumped up significantly. What do we get for being part of that?
The part no, that's the COG, you're asking about COG.
COGS, I'm asking about, yeah.
We'll have to come back on that.
Okay.
They wrote us a nice letter this year about why the fees are going up.
Yeah, they did,
Is that the Western Cascade?
Cascades Bus.
Cascades West.
yeah. That's the general fund. We want to take a break?
The rest? Anyone doing okay?
Plugging?
I think
Yeah.
Logan.
All right. Game.
Fund.
All right, page 36, street fund. As we've talked about already, half of the budget, half of the funding comes from the state highway tax dollars. They do all the street maintenance, repairs, and improvements. And let's see, what they've got their highlights, they've got their increase of maintenance went up as parts, and then reallocated the building maintenance, used and split out between the street, buildings, and so on, water, sewer, and street, so we'll see him in there. Page 39, revenues, they've got a street utility fee calculated similar to the city services fee we'll do with the each, everybody gets charged one, except for apartment complex, like the boulevards, there's like 274 units that each one of those units gets charged. So that's how we arrived for the city service, that same calculation. State appropriation, we talked about that one, that came from the state shared. We've got a transpo action plan, there's, money that were available that we're gonna apply for, that's, 2103,802. Interest in investments, it's just all over the place right now. Transfer then from the general fund, and like I told you earlier, we had Pioneer and their public services in this particular item, but we moved it back to the general fund and we transfer it back. Their cash carry forward is pretty much stable. It goes between the 300,000 and the 500 every year or so. Looking at their expenditures, their payroll budget, their personnel service went up 4.31 within, like everybody else. Over on their materials and services, they went up 12.65. A lot of that, I'm trying to think what the heck that was that caused that one to jump. It was, what was it? Vehicle repair, right, then you have another one, contracted services, we're probably gonna need to bring that one back for you guys. That's one we've got. What else do you see, Rich? Okay, any questions on that? I've got the contracted services, why did that one up?
I presume the transportation, action plan, that's a grant
Right.
on the other side of that, yes, okay.
Yeah, anything that's have a 0382, that's a grant. So, but do you want to know anything on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just know that one of the questions that came in.
Cool, now I got it, got it.
Moving on.
Oh,
Teresa.
Yeah, 5645.
What is it?
5645, number 5645 tires.
Tires.
The big one on that one as well.
Okay.
And also the bad debt write-off, what, on 5053.
Believe it or not, we still get general fund fees that we're collecting from the past, out from collections.
Okay.
And we end up having to write some of them off. That's what that one is.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Thank you.
it's one that just blows me away that we have it, but we still have,
Okay.
they've gone to collections and we can say this is bad, it's the general fund, that's, we write it off.
Perfect, thank you.
But I'll get to the tires,
And also supplies, 5587, why the increase there?
okay?
I got one.
Go ahead.
For the 5423 oil maintenance crack and slurry seal, I know that's gonna probably based off of, what actual events happen. It just still seems like that might be budgeted a little high based on the last, 2 3/4 actuals. So if they have any thoughts on rationale on that one.
Yep.
I will say that I believe they just did some projects that are not reflected in these actuals, but we'll bring that back for you.
Yeah. It always happens.
Feasible, Right
Exactly.
at the end, yeah.
If it happens in July.
I know you can't chase every year.
Right.
This is just out of curiosity, there's a couple line items, there's 5145 concrete sidewalk and curb, and then there's 5557 sidewalk improvement. I'm just curious.
51 what?
145.
5145 and 5557. do I guess the question is, are those revenue neutral because we would be billing a property owner for repairing the sidewalk, or?
Well, 5557 is for property owners' failure to maintain them.
Right, so I'm just asking, like, is that, like, are we covering those costs, or?
Yes,
Okay,
right?
okay.
I will have to bring it back. I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, page 42. We're now getting into the proprietary funds. Now, remember last year, we were working through the utility rate study, and council adopted that budget back in March. But it will go into effect July 1st, on the water, sewer, and storm, and the new rates from the utility rate study. Would y'all like to have a copy of the new rates? The old rates versus the new rates? Would y'all like to see that? Okay.
And I think that also included street.
Yeah, but that just came out, that one went based on the engineering news,
Okay.
but I'll still bring it. And that's still part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the budget for water has been built with the new rates and, like I said, that we've got increased lab analysis for sample for next year and new treatment, increased treatment chemicals, and also the building maintenance has been split out here. We also have transfers on page 43, that's their listings on where they're sending their money. We've got their future equipment, their capital improvement plan. I think I need to bring out a capital improvement plan. Okay, page 44 is the summary of their revenue sources and their expenditures and showing down to their ending fund balance. Their balance is stabilized with the new rates. Page 45, the biggest increase is in their metered water sales. That's the new rates. So it went 1.7 to 2.2. Now, a lot of this really is built, we're collecting for a debt service payment. So that's why you'll see that over on page 46. We now have a debt service reserve that we have to put there. We're not going to have a payment next year, I don't believe. Chris and I are working on the funding for the water treatment plant. And so I don't know if we'll have a payment. I may structure it if they let us to move it out to the next year. So we'll have a carryover of that 390,000. That'll be for the rate study has the built-in of schedule. So that's why I've got numbers there. So that's why the number went from 1.7 to 2.2. A lot of it's for the debt. So, but it does help with their operations. Their payroll went up 8.98. Now the biggest thing was the increase on John, but didn't really make that big of a deal. John's the building maintenance worker. Page 46 is their expenditures and material service. They went up 1.96. I'll let you guys pick that one apart. It looks like there's probably a contracted service on there. Yeah. I'll write down and then Rich is over going on. Put it down. Gotcha. And then for their equipment, they're moving out. They're moving out 350,000 to the LBE for future projects. And then they also have 12% reserve for their unappropriated reserve and a contingency of about 12%. The difference was really not really much of a difference. I put the exact amount of that debt service in there. So,
Mike, just as we got a few new members on the budget, could you give a quick summary of transfers to LB for equipment versus transfers to LB for infrastructure?
gotcha. All right, the transfers for the LB equipment is basically for their office type purchases, desks and stuff like that, computers and so on. Infrastructure is the streets, when they build big project for, there's not streets, there's the water treatment plant, the reservoir we just did. Office equipment is here also. Public Works building, we put money aside, they match it with the water and sewer, the sewer fund. They put money aside for the building out on Willow Street if they were ever to rebuild it. So that's how those four are set up. You'll see that quite a bit. So, any other questions?
5745, the inconsistency, I guess, with vehicle repair and maintenance. So let's look forward. 5745.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Mike?
I just wondered, since the building maintenance worker is allocated, be split between water, sewer, and streets, does he or she get a different uniform for each one of them?
No, no.
And just to be clear,
Yeah.
because that is a little confusing, they just reallocated the position to be little parts of that position have been
Yeah, it's
throughout
only
there.
like 5%.
But that position is still in building and parts, but it's a fairly new position,
Yeah.
so we kind of have to adjust to the position and reallocate. But good question. No, we don't do that. That would be more uniform costs.
Yeah.
Stay very low.
Exactly.
Right? I like that. It was like a trick question. Like catch.
Yeah.
He changed it every place.
I was just curious about, what is this? Is it computer support? 5137.
5137.
It looks like we're spending a lot more than we're budgeting consistently.
Okay, we'll bring that one back.
And then there was, I think, an opposite. Oh, same thing with building repair and maintenance. It looks like right this year there was some big spike. And then there's one that I thought was, oh, is it? Well, yeah, that's fine.
Can you remind me of the difference between metered water sales and bulk water sales? Is metered water sales is like from anyone who's a water customer, right?
That's what we bill them.
Mhm.
Right, that's from our line.
And the bulk water sale is
And they come to us and we fill up their truck.
cool, thanks.
I have two.
Okay.
5245, education and training.
Okay.
And then 5285, equipment repair and maintenance.
What they went up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brent, I haven't heard from you all night.
Oh, okay.
Hi. And this is more of an observation. I do, as I noticed, there's a lot of 0% change. It does kind of have that look that it was just kind of an exact copy from the previous budget with some of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, maybe the necessary work was done, but it does kind of have that kind of surface level look. And so to your point, what about the actual?
Right.
It does look kind of like just like a copy. So for whatever that's worth, yeah.
They'll just stay with the last year's numbers.
Hold steady. Hey,
I mean, you can live with them.
Yeah.
If he hasn't spent them, I mean, the money just it rolls over. It won't, if he doesn't spend it, it just
Right, of
rolls
course,
over.
yeah,
So if this money stays here, anything will go.
Question on how you calculate the meter water sales. Has any of your calculations changed on how you came up with that figure? I know it's just a larger utility rate increase if there's, family members in Philomath that are gonna try and save some water to try and lower their bill. So I'm just curious if you adjusted or not.
Nothing's changed in inflation. No, it's the same inflation, just a different rate.
Yep.
And can I ask just a general, just for clarification, it says on the last column on the far right, percentage of change from 2022 to 2023. See the years seem weird to me on that top?
I agree. That's here. Consistently through.
Okay, so should that be corrected? Okay, thank you. Welcome.
It seems like it's just with the.
We actually just did that to see who would notice it. No, it's okay. I'm just kind of what that's.
Just for winning, you get to tell us what's out tonight.
That's right. Oh, tonight is, yeah.
Any other questions on that? Go ahead, Mike.
Excuse me, computer support. That was a question that you raised, but is it about, I mean, the budget is 13, and twice that much. Okay.
Yep, we got that one. We'll bring.
Ready for sewer?
Good sky chart, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you like that? That'd be cool. Orion's going to bed though. I don't like it. Cool. Fun. This is where we account for all the section treatment of the wastewater. We got, let's see what else we got. We got the building maintenance. You put there, increase the equipment repair and maintenance due to cost of repairs and servicing. Also another increase in treatment chemicals. So let's go to his budget. Starting on page 50. Let's go to the summaries, the resources, and the expenditure. There's also, we put a reserve in there for debt service. It's good to have, put some money aside for it, for our debt service there. We do have debt service there. That one's, I don't know if we can prepay that one, but there's no money set aside for that at the moment. Page 51 is the start of their revenues. Meter sales or sewer user fees that went up from 1.8 to almost 2.01 or 05, I think. Let's see what else we got. And cash carry forward is increased. It was been pretty healthy the last couple of years. So when they did the rate study, they did not make big changes on that. They just basically gave the COLA. So been a pretty healthy fund. The personal services went up 9.21. Let's see, we got the over on materials and services, it went up 4.38. And a couple of big items there. Probably, do we want to look at contracted services? Yep, probably do. Got it, Rich.
You look at computer support as well?
I will do that.
Jessica?
I just go through and go ditto.
Oh, I was just gonna double check, because these are all part of the Public Works. To clarify, so like computer support for each of these funds is all going towards the same computers, correct?
Yeah.
Like it's for Public Works, no?
No, it may be
It's separated
different.
out.
So it's different than our,
Okay.
like our IT services, which is entirely an app.
Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
so this might be a specific program that they're using in support for that. We will have to look at it.
We'll have to look at it.
Yeah.
But in theory, there are certain other line items that are probably grouped together, correct?
What do you mean?
Like between the different funds.
Right,
They're
one bill will
split.
be
Yeah,
split.
right. Thank you. Mhm.
Yeah,
That's it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be exactly what's happening.
yep, yeah.
I just sometimes need that context again, so thank you.
Yeah.
Chris?
No, never mind. Just answered it myself. I was using my brain. I should try it more often.
Education and training for me.
Is your question related to actuals for this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sewer main repair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge
Yeah, I agree.
actual versus budgeted.
Okay,
Did we already put down their miscellaneous 5390?
no,
Oh, thank you. I had it highlighted.
what's that, 50?
53.
Can I say another?
Yep. Go right in.
5195.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like some of these is now it's summer.
It's seasonal. I think some of the answers are going to be.
Now that it's not raining, minus today.
I just think that when when it goes from one year 700 and another year 12, it's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
7, 1200, 3000. It seems very inconsistent. So why are we jumping out? Is increase in cost? I understand, but it'd be nice to understand why the inconsistencies.
Got it.
Scheduling of every other. Yeah, that's just to clarify.
We're looking at 2 years back, they're getting 15 years back in their mind, right? So some of it, we just start seeing the whole picture. We're
Right.
seeing a
Yeah.
couple of years where it was down or whatever, but don't, I think it's good to ask.
Thank you.
Oh, Mike. Hi.
Lagoon monitoring, I noticed it jumped, at least the budget jumped about $2,000, 1,800 or so.
Okay.
Is there something some new law that passed that we have to monitor it
Could be.
more frequently or something?
We'll find out.
Did we already do 5012? Might have missed that, sorry.
Administrative overhead?
Yeah, it's increasingly.
That's mine. Got it. Okay.
Good.
For the sewer bond, debt service.
Yep.
When do we anticipate paying?
Every year.
No, I mean, like, how long is the?
Oh, I think it's up to 2035, I believe.
Sooner than later. Okay.
Okay. Storm drain?
Okay. More than, this is where we take care of, high water, stream water system, connect it to, lagoons and stuff. Okay, on page 56, is a summary of their resources and expenditures. This fund is just going to grow. This is something that was increased with the utility rate study. The mechanics of the charges changed. So on page 57, the storm drain fee, you can see on the original for this particular year is 117,000, went up to 472,000. We did change the way we charge for our stormwater fees. So that's what it's increased for, and it's increased because IDQ is starting to come down on people that are close to the river, so we're gonna get ahead of the curve. But we took that into consideration when we did the rate study, so, I mean, if you can see it in the personnel service, it went up 305%. That's because we got a new storm drain, or storm worker in there. Well, that's all his cost. I didn't allocate it out yet. Expenditure wise, we increased their 29% based on what the new needs are for the permits and the stuff that we have to have. And we've also increased our transfer out for our infrastructure projects because those are starting to increase. And it went from 115 this year, 115,000 to 250 for next year. Contingencies stabilized and the unappropriated reserve is okay. It's at 37. They don't need a big reserve carry forward. Any questions on this one?
Me. I remember last year this was a hot item to make sure that we took care of.
Yep.
So I do remember that. But is there going to be in the review, the utility rates review? They give us reasons why we need to jump up 472,000.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, we've only spent 82. There was reasons to go up to $400,000.
Okay.
And we're not even close to that.
No, we won't be this year. This year, we'll probably hit the 117,000 because the new rates don't take effect until July 1st.
Okay.
The structure, that's what I'm saying, the structure of the
That's what I
rates
was asking.
increased.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
It'll show up in the UV rates.
Okay.
Sheet. I will bring also, the old rates versus the new rates. I'll give you that picture so you can see it, because when you see that, Nicole, you'll understand. I'll bring you.
All right, thank you.
Can I, like, just for context, part of the reason this was a big hot topic last year and part of the reason it's going up so much is just because we've been doing a lot more storm drain work than we were accurately accounting for. So the other funds were subsidizing the storm drain fund. Like we weren't, it says we're spending, whatever, it's at like $160,000 on storm drains or something, or whatever, 200,000 for requirements there. But we have in reality been spending a lot more staff time than that, clearing the storm drains and everything. And so we're trying to more accurately reflect the time the public works workers spend on storm drains should be paid out of the storm fund.
I remember.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a better accounting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's not actually necessarily like quadrupling the amount of work that's happening as much as accurately reflecting that work has been happening already and we should bill it to this fund.
Correct. And we couldn't do that because we didn't have enough funding.
Yeah.
So now it's all gonna be moved here.
That said, there have been more, well, I guess that ties into it, the spending more time over time due to DEQ regulations and stuff like that have come up. But then, speaking of rates, do we have a final rates study that's been, report that's been finalized yet?
Well, we got new rate sheets if you want.
Were they not providing a report similar to the housing needs analysis and the, economic development?
I did not bring one to the review.
I know. I'm asking if it exists, if that was part of the.
For the contract.
Part of the contract or not, or if it was just the sheets and the calculations.
Pretty much, they got us a final report that we used when we reported back to the council. So
then.
There should be something out there. If not, I'll dig it out.
Okay, I would like to see that at some point, because.
I think we've added to the website, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'll look.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's on the project page for the water rate.
Because I remember we didn't have it when we were discussing utility rate, setting them, and I was confused as to why, because I asked for it. But it wasn't finished yet, I think, so. Thank you.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Following on the previous discussion about sort of make sure we're allocating things right, I know I'm supposed to nitpick line items. However, well, just a question then of, I know one of the things that came up with the concerns was storm isn't contributing towards building and grounds maintenance for the Public Works building in the same way that water and sewer are. And sort of all those other, just like maintaining the Public Works Department costs. And since we have tried to right the ship with storm funding, if we might be able to more accurately reflect the cost share for those kind of just ongoing costs in the storm fee budget.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Your question is more related to seeing additional lines that would have those
Yeah,
things in, that is what you're asking?
Yeah. Like, would that affect, I mean, I know it's not a huge effect, but like, if Storm starts contributing $3,000 a year to building and grounds maintenance for Public Works, would that mean that the street fund could contribute $1,000 less? Sewer fund could contribute $1,000 less, so, you know, but.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and that's what he split his allocation. So, yeah,
Okay.
we'll see what we can get out of that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
5310, GIS services I'm on page 57.
Add that one too.
And also, may I say another? 5563, small tools and equipment, and 5597, system supplies.
What?
Just say, yeah, the increases.
Yeah,
If no one's, can't
Yeah.
start talking.
budget principle on 5137 and the next two, 5143, 5147, just the rationale of why we're increasing it 3, 3, and 4% respectively if there's no actuals.
5137, 5143, and 5147?
Yep.
With no actuals.
Oh, I see what you're asking, why they're.
Yeah, just
Gotcha.
rationale of why the
Yeah.
increase in budget.
I guess I could go for a couple of them, huh? Well, we don't know what the permit's gonna be yet. Use. Attention. Mike? No, good, everyone good? Okay.
Question, the total stormwater fund resource line, 34%, I mean, seems like that should be green, right? I mean, good, right? I mean, resources are, I'm sorry, am I dense or?
No,
We know what you're saying is, okay, we can change the code.
I know it's, well, it's because I'm wondering, then if we go totally down to the bottom line is 191,482. That's a lot less than what the incoming amount is, so how come it's showing 151? I'm sorry, I don't follow how that works.
The total expenditures, that is a total for the materials and services and the personal services.
And then there's the additional 250.
Right, then you jump the page and
Oh,
you got over there, you add in the transfers.
Yes,
and
sorry.
you put in one number,
There it is.
You add in the contingency and unappropriated reserve, you can get the number can match up. It's okay, Mike, it's not you, sorry. Okay,
It's really confusing.
Especially with the public stuff.
don't worry, you get some more.
Make the text smaller, put it on one page.
God, you don't want to do that.
Good to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
We do the development review. Okay, we're getting into the construction area. Development review is where a developer wants to do a construction project, they come to us to talk about infrastructure costs, whatever they're gonna do. And city engineer sits down with them and they put together a plan and they go off to start building stuff. their budget, again, on page 61, their resources. This basically is money in, money out. We charge them so much, and we get paid for it. Really, not much to this particular fund. We carry the same numbers forward, just because they seem to work. But we bill the people for the review expenses and they pay us back. And that's basically what this fund is. It's just money in, money out. Chris, can you explain this a little bit better than I can?
No, I think it's about right. I mean, our biggest expense here is the city engineer that reviews each of these plans when they come in. And so, as Mike said, we collect a deposit up front. They pay us the deposit. It's about 4% of the total infrastructure they're building. We review. We get a bill from West Tech, who's our engineer of record, West Tech Engineering. So they send us a bill. We'll use the deposit to pay the bill. And if we get a bill and it's more than what we've collected, then we'll invoice the developer more money for more plan review. If we haven't spent all the money in plan review, then we give them a little reimbursement check and we give them back the additional from the deposit they put down. So it balances out. Kevin tracks us really closely. Mike tracks it really closely, but it's essentially just the developer paying for their engineering review of their plans.
Is there a reason why the cash forward balance and the contingency continues to increase? Like in line 9,500, our contingency went from 3,000 one year, and now we're up to 26,800. Is there a reason why the contingency?
Yeah, because they just have to have a whole bunch of projects they prepaid and we hadn't used up the money yet.
Okay.
So that particular number is tied back to projects.
Thank you.
I mean, we just think that yeah, it's tied to a project.
Yeah, this will ebb and flow not by year, by project. So some projects, some years will have more projects and others will have less, and it just depends on at what point they submit it. And we've got money in the account. And it gets paid down because we're paying invoices for the engineer. So this one's kind of hard to track. We just make sure there's enough money there that we try to cover about what we think we're going to pay for engineering review throughout the year. And then we get 3 months into it and somebody drops something on our desk. We had no idea what's coming in. That's going to cost us, $20,000 or $30,000 in review. So on this one, it doesn't really hurt to have more money in there budgeted than what we may think we might have, because we only spend the money as it comes in. So.
Why 152,000? I feel like it's such a random number.
Because Mike is a finance director and he likes numbers.
Round numbers.
If it was me, it would be more like 100.
It just seems like a very random. Perfect, great, good answer. I'm good. I just.
But that's
just
based on the fees, right? Like on the deposits from developers. So it's.
We charge, we end up charging them.
Okay.
That's what checks over the years, right?
There's a formula in there that comes out to like 151 something something something, and
Oh,
mine
gosh.
goes to 152.
Okay. Sorry, man. I'm getting better, I promise.
So I had a question about investments. Are a lot of these have interest on investments. Some are really sound pretty good, and others like this one. Is it just simply the amount of funds invested in whatever it is we
Whatever
invest
their
in?
cash balance is at each month, this one doesn't carry the cash balance, except every once in a blue. They're just all over the place.
So basically, we're in some kind of money market fund or something.
We're at the pool, the state pool, and they don't give us a whole bunch of interest. So we're at whatever they give us. I'd like to go to Brent Banks, but I can't. Yeah, Springfield Bank to a banker. You think all that over there. Got a lot of money over there, but yeah, and he might give me a better rate than the state, but by law, I have to go to the state just because we've got, we got a lot of money up there. Almost $12 million. But they get only what's good for much balances each month. So, some will be good and some will be terrible, Mike, so I can control it. And
Right, so we give the state all the money.
well, we give them they hold our monies.
All local government money in the state goes into what's called the local government investment pool of the state treasury. And then that's like our savings account, sort of. So then it just generates interest in the savings account before we spend it. And that's for all, I think all cities and
Pretty much,
counties.
cities and counties, yeah, yep.
Okay, so it's not an actual investment then, like a, like a stock.
It's right, it is not a stock, we can plan that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the state treasury invests it, but
We can't go, the state can do it.
yeah.
State law, man.
You form a local government, you can invest in it.
What's
If you form your own local government, you can invest in it.
Well, yeah, I think there's also, I was reading a book about this, not to get super off track. I think they put it in there partly because they didn't want local governments to start buying companies by investing so much in a company that they actually become like a majority shareholder. There's a whole thing when Bob Straub was treasurer. I'm reading his biography that's now overdue at the library. So library watching, I'm sorry.
Way to help the library fee.
That's true, yeah.
Thank you for contributing.
Clarification, sorry.
No, it's a good question. Yeah.
Move on. What's there?
We got one big fund, and after that is pretty, yeah. We got the big one. And building and equipment, start construction. We've got our vehicles, upgrades for facilities, land acquisition. We basically put money aside for that. Page 65 are the resources and expenditures and transfers in. And we have an ending fund balance or a reserve, but we moved it into a contingency because this is a construction fund. Page 66. If you look at that, we've got, probably need to make a revision for on page 66, number 410334. That is the money that we just heard about that we're going to get for we could do a project up on the north side, bringing sewer line down to our lagoons. The money's not going to be, the state's not going to go out and sell the bonds until the end of next year. So we probably need to get that out of there, plus the project. I will bring that back to the budget review next. Chris just found that out the other day. The other big number that's in there is 8.63. That's this is Oregon Grant 3803840. That is the money that we have at the moment set aside for the water treatment plant construction. And then we got, the little bit of the other things, the Campo, these things all have a project attached to them. Down at the bottom, 4.667, that number is also going to be changed. We're finally did our final gathering of data for the construction project for the the water treatment plant. So that I think is going to be like around 6.7 million, but the rate structure, the rate study built that in, but they built it at a higher rate. Rich and I we're going to go to the state public works special fund loans. They usually give a better rate of about 2.34. So we need to change those numbers. That should keep us within our rate structure. So that's the big numbers in the land building and equipment resources. the transfers in, those are the monies that come from all the departments for various equipments and infrastructure project and office building. And we have a cash carry forward of 353. That's what we plan on carrying forward. Any questions on the resource?
Jessica.
What is the police citation assessment 03580?
Believe it or not, we get monies in from tickets, and a small portion of it goes over there for his combined bullets or something. So he doesn't get a whole bunch. I think he's got about 2,000. They come in and they use the money. So that's something that comes in. If you want to know about it, we can look into. I can have Dave explain it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Especially with like, if you said it's a certain percentage. But I guess I was thrown off by the word assessment because usually that involves like or at least when I
study or
yeah.
some data behind it.
Yeah. That'll probably something up. I don't know. Dave should know too. So anyway, yeah, we'll bring that back.
I was curious for, it's 03949, the general fund police equipment. Feels like it's on a roller coaster ride of one year we spend like nothing, and then the next year we spend a ton, and then we spend nothing, and then we spend a ton.
What number was that?
03949.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of them kind of go up and down. That one just seemed the most drastic up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to bring that one back.
And I guess maybe specifically what it's for this year, if we're only spending a couple thousand, or this year.
I'll bring that one back.
And can I ask what FTA, that acronym means for the bus operations on 3814?
It's a Federal Transit Authority, yeah.
And it's going down when bus costs are going up?
Yeah.
Well, that would probably need to be removed. That was money that we got from Corvallis for the bus shelters.
Okay.
I think I need to remove that one.
Operations this next year.
I don't think there's gonna be anything there.
Believe it or not, the federal is giving it less money.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on the revenues? All right.
Got them. Hit it.
For the water treatment plant construction loan,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, just curious, I guess, when we anticipate taking that loan, because you said we probably wouldn't have a payment till following fiscal year, but we're still planning to get the revenue from it this fiscal year.
We'll see, yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since I did special public works loan. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'm gonna bring to that. I already have that written down.
Lisa, hold on, I got Jessica first. Yep. All right, when Mike's ready.
Next.
Out of curiosity, it says private donation 03650. Is there anything you can say about it? Like, is it related to, or like for anything in particular, or?
Yes, it is. We've got North 11th Street, we've got some money set aside. It's being held in an escrow account. Whenever we do that North 11th Street,
It's the fire lane thing. Right?
Yeah, we'll pull that money in and we'll match it. I think we've got, the match is, I think that's in the miscellaneous revenue.
From an individual, I guess? From an individual person, or like, I guess?
From a sale of something.
Property owner when they sold the property.
It's still pretty self-aware.
It's not really a donation necessarily, it's a.
Let's look into that one. That's a different
I was gonna
number.
take another 30.
I think it's 30,000.
That's for a potential donation for a park project,
That's the park route.
for the public, the parade that we have.
I'll bring it back. Thank you.
Yeah, please do.
That is transit budget.
I had a constituent, he was asking me about what fund is for the street sweeper? Do you know which of the funds here would be? So, would there be a way I could ask a question as far as the cost of replacing the current street sweeper compared to contracting out someone to come and do street sweeping?
I know who asked you that question.
Okay, and I think that's, if we could find out about that, because if it costs more to replace the equipment than it would for us to subcontract that out, it would be nice to know. I do try to.
I knew
listen and-
exactly where that came from as soon as you said it.
Okay, no, I got it. That's good. All right, do we want to move to the expenditures?
Good here, moving on.
Okay. Page 67, this is the place where we have all these laid out. The big ticket items, we got money set aside for the city hall expansion or upgrade. The water infrastructure, that is basically the construction of the water treatment plant. And like I said, I will bring you the water treatment plant and I will, and have to remove that 2.6. Everything else is above the 421,000, those are basically set asides or reserves that we're building for future projects or future equipment. So do we have any questions?
So if I'm understanding, so the 50, you're saying then that the park equipment, the 56,000 that's in the budget, that's line item 6434, is setting aside for something in the future for the
Yes.
parks?
Yeah. Unless we've got it in the CIP, I off the top of my head.
Do have like shelter roof.
There is a shelter roof. Let me look at that one, Teresa.
Thank you.
But also we're trying to bring this COP, which will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring that.
Oh, Public Works.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, there's a column I have right beside it that I didn't print out on mine,
Okay.
that I know exactly what it is.
Getting later, we're a little tired of this.
Looking at numbers after a while gets old.
Mike, Mike, go ahead.
See, 6441 City Hall building, 421,000? Are we like building a new one or something, or?
No, it's an upgrade.
Yeah, there's plans for a remodel to improve our ADA accessibility to City Hall, also improve security for staff. And then it allows, it's just an interior remodel for the most part. But then a part of it is to add like new coverings over the entries. So yeah, it's about a $450,000 project, but we're putting that on hold for now.
I was gonna ask, on the note of putting it on hold, should we not have it budgeted then? Should we just keep that out of the budget for this year?
What was the question again?
Oh, just because I feel like
Not have it in the budget if we're not. doing
we've
it.
talked about not doing the City Hall remodel, at
No,
least.
I would appreciate the security. My staff is, really gets upset when we add people out there.
I get that. I'm just saying, we've talked about putting it off a year, and if we're talking about putting it off a year, we shouldn't have it in the budget for the year.
Well, what about the security side of it?
Maybe this is a good council discussion.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the council's given direction to not move forward with it. We've just internally had some discussions about whether now is a good time or not, but
I mean,
we have good direction since the last time that we
Yeah,
spoke about it, which was to move forward, so.
well, I guess we know something to talk about.
I did have one. What is going to be happening with the Public Works building specifically? We have a $28,000 budget for that. Is there?
I'll have to do, there's something in there, or something, I'll look.
Thank you.
Thousand maybe. I find them the
Okay, moving to the SDCs. District Development Program. We have two funds. We have one that's for the streets in the park. And we've got some projects built in there. Don't know what they are off the top of my head. But we're planning on 10 houses to be completed that will generate the revenue that you see on page 70. We're projecting 119,000. And then we get administrative fees and interest. So we're looking, this money sits there until we need it. We're going to be using part of this, not this part. We're going to be using, when we get to the proprietary one, we'll see it there. But you got any questions on this particular page 7?
Page 70?
70. Or 69.
Or 15, yeah. One of those.
I'm sorry, I don't see the number you mentioned. What,
Oh,
on page 70?
Yeah, the 119 is on
119.
69.
oh, I'm sorry, the total charges and grants, it's the very first line up there, 119, no, page, on page 70.
Oh, right there.
Sorry,
So under total charges and grant.
that's the total charges for, we're expecting treatment
Yeah.
charges.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
That's what we're expecting this next year.
Can we make these numbers smaller?
I can,
Yeah.
I can make them really small.
I know they do some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, by law, I have to give you 2 years prior, plus the original, plus a month, 8 months actual, then you have to show your department rent.
I'm sorry, I'm not complaining. You do good.
You know,
You do good.
I'm complaining because really, it makes them small.
And also make more your first maybe.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, designer.
Yeah, I talked to the boss behind me. She said I had to make this or they're gonna cut off numbers. Right, Crystal? Any questions here? Okay.
Does everybody get generally how SPCs work?
Yeah.
Not so long at the meeting, but I know we've got new folks. I mean, in short, we'll just take a house. If you want to build a new house in Philomath, there's already a water plant and lines and sewer mains and a street, all of which got built and paid for before you showed up. There's going to be, when you show up, you're adding more people to the community, which means eventually we're going to need to expand the water plant, expand the sewer lines, upsize all of those things, improve the road or upsize the road. So SDCs are a way to capture that. You always hear like development should pay for development. That's what SDCs do. SDCs make development pay for themselves. They pay a one-time fee when they pull their building permit, and that one-time fee pays for infrastructure that's already there that they're going to enjoy, and future infrastructure is going to need to be built going forward because we've added, X number of new people into the community. And so we collect it for street, for water, for sewer, for storm, and for our parks. So every time a new house gets built, $5,000 gets paid towards park improvements so we can build a new park or put new equipment in a park because we've got a new individual or a new family who's moved in that's going to increase the need for those types of expenditures. So this is development paying for development, in short. Obviously, when you're doing like a subdivision, you're still paying for your roads, you're still paying for your own water lines, your own sewer lines, you still pay for your own infrastructure. This is paying for like the big systemic operations that are in the system, like water plants, treatment plants, major highways, that type of thing. Not highways, but major roadways, collectors, arterials and whatnot. So if that helps. So this is really, Mike said, we're kind of estimating about 10 new homes next year. We try to be fairly conservative on that. It could be more. Again, there's subdivision. We've got a pre-construction meeting, I think, tomorrow for Noel Heights, which is going to go in up on North 7th Street. But they've got to get all the infrastructure around before they even start pulling building permits yet, right? But we assume that we're going to see some building permits there. Mill Pond is still out there, and then there's a handful of other, small developments around as well. So we estimate on this number, if we have an approved subdivision that's building 40, 50 houses, this number will go up. When it's kind of just trickling in, 10 is a fairly conservative number to stick with. And the bigger part of that is, what does the money go towards? That money then goes towards those future projects. So when we look at capital projects, like we've got a sewer line that we need to run up 19th Street down Industrial Way so that that entire north end of the city can develop with some residential housing at some point. Well, there's no one property owner that's got the money to afford to put that entire sewer line in, right? So the city applied for a grant. We got some money from the state for $2.65 million to do that. It's a $2.9 million project, so $250,000 is coming out of sewer SDCs that other developers, other builders, other property owners have paid, and we're going to use that money to build that sewer main that needs to be built out there. So those monies, the state is very, very picky on these, and they mandate that we can only spend these monies on infrastructure projects. They can pay debt on infrastructure projects, or they pay for future projects. But we can't use it for operations, we can't buy vehicles, for infrastructure only. So that's SDCs. Again, I know we have some newer folks, but they're educated a little bit.
I'll look into that. Can you please give a brief overview as well of the deferred aspect of it as pertains to like the line items and such?
Yeah, deferred SDCs is primarily used by a larger developer that's building multiple homes. And our code allows that when they pull their building permit, rather than pay their SDCs at that time, before they have a buyer for the home, they can defer their SDCs until the time that the home is sold and occupied. And so we charge interest, and we put a lien on the property, they pay a fee, and then there's the lien amount with the interest on it. And so while they're constructing the home, there's interest accruing, and then when they sell the home and collect money from the new buyer, they use that money to pay off the lien, to pay the SDCs, and the city gets their money from there. So.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yep.
Ready?
Yeah.
I do have one question. So then that would mean the charges listed on page 72, like 3,355, 3,359, those are lower proposed because we have, what is the purpose of all those being lower than in the past?
We're anticipating less homes being built this year than what last year we were anticipating getting built.
Yeah, it just depends on.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, last year we knew we had Jason Linder coming in. We left over a little bit higher, and this year we don't know. We always do it 10.
Perfect, thank you.
And we update the rates in January, so they go up a little bit based on cost of construction. So we do tie those to an index, cost of construction. So they'll go up every January, but it really is based like this time of year. We look and like, what's in the pipeline? What do we see coming down? How many new homes do we anticipate having?
Okay. I'm going to move to the next SDC fund, which is the government or proprietary, which is the sewer, water, and storm. Like I said, we figured in-houses, and that's where we come up with our numbers. For the project, for the expenditures, the water improvement outlay, we're figuring we're going to spend 500 SDCs for the water improvement and the water treatment plant this year. And then spend another $500,000 next year. Storm drain, we've got a project for the basins that we're building there. Let's put the big expenditures there right now. So, any questions on this particular fund? Yeah. I like two figures. 87.4. we've got two funds, got the community development fund. What that is we had some old, community development block grants from back in the seventies that we still have outstanding receivables. We've got some money set aside there. That we can take that money and do projects, downtown and stuff like that. The Economic Development Fund is, basically, loan fund. We took out a loan for the Mill Pond Industrial Site, back in 2006, and we bill the people at Mill Pond, then we pay the bill in November. So there's really not much to the economic development, it's money in, money out. But the community development grant, which
I just clarify for the audience, the
Industrial.
Mill Pond industrial part is
Totally
north
separate.
of the highway. It's different than the Mill Pond crossing housing development.
okay,
For the rest of the parties.
makes a difference. Okay, 875 and 76 is the community development funds. It's like I say, we set up a budget for repayments. If we get money, we get money. If not, we can only spend what we have there. What we've been doing there is, we're just been sending out our feelers for people to do downtown projects. The last money that we spent, I believe, was for Dirt Road for their renovation of their front building. I can't think of anybody else, but we always put money in there for those type projects. That's what that particular fund does.
We'll have more about this year for creative graphics, the old Myrtlewood building with that facade. So they're getting $10,000 help with that. So yeah, it's the facade grant program, so it's up to $10,000 matching fund per business owner. And we're budgeting about 3 a year. I need to bring that back to the council because the way it's set up now, it was going to be more competitive where we get 5 or 6 applications, we pick the top 3. But what I've found over the last 3 years is they kind of trickle in when they're ready to come. And so we just need to change our review criteria a little bit. It's not the top 3, it's here's the minimum criteria. And if you meet that, then you qualify and we'll run them through as they're ready. But other than that change, I think doing about 3 a year makes sense.
Okay, last fund to look at, page 77 and 78 is the Economic Development Fund. Like I said, it's money in, money out. We build industrial site people in November, we pay the bill and money in, money out. Any questions on that fund?
I was just gonna say, to clarify, I think, so the community development funds, the CDBG, that was based on previous grants related to housing, as opposed to, that's not being funded by the economic development from Mill Pond Industrial Site. Okay, cool. I might have missed hearing you say that, but.
The CDBG grant, that's money sitting over there. Past. This
Yes.
is money in, money out.
Housing part is
Yep.
now being used for downtown facade.
I'm just curious for economic development funds with money in, money out, why it's not quite. We always have like a couple $100 of excess revenue.
It's called interest.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we hold on to it. Well, it's got $14,000, so that generates. So, I mean, it's been sitting, that 14's been there since I've been here, so I don't know where it came from. It's gonna stay there. And that's it. We're done.
Congratulations, we did it.
Can I make a request, Madam Chair? Okay. Fair enough. I wanted to wait until we were done. Maybe I should have done it after the general fund piece, but partly getting to one of Mike's questions earlier, I know this might be some work, but I would love to see specifically for the general funds, a option in the budget that does reduce costs by like 100 to 150,000. Well, I would be happy to suggest some things, but so
Okay, frame your question.
can staff provide a alternative general fund budget with somewhere between 100 and 150,000 dollars in reductions for the budget review committee to consider? Because I think as we're discussing the general fund or the city services fee, I think we should also discuss not, what the alternatives are, and what we're actually talking about there. And I guess I would prefer to look under areas and services and supplies where we could try to like right size some of the requests to more historical bridges, but partly to Brent's comment. And I would be more than happy to chat more about that if you'd like.
Nope. We'll do what we can.
Okay.
We've already started it. It's like, we did it once.
Yeah.
You do it again.
Okay, looks like our next meeting is May 27th here at 5:30. Be here, be there, be square. Be here, be here.
5:30 for URA and then 5:40 for this.
Got it.
So,
All right, is there any other unfinished business? If not, the meeting adjourned at 8:36.
The first one.
Oh, right.